Hello and welcome. My name is Kate Edgecombe, and I'm a sommelier, which is French for wine steward. I have a degree in hospitality business management, and I'm a certified sommelier through the Court of Master Sommeliers. I've been working in the wine industry in San Diego since 2016, and a few years ago, I decided to start my own wine label called Strawberry Wine Company. The time is approaching for the Encinitas Wine Festival, an annual event benefiting local charities across North County. One of these charities is San Diego Lab Rats, where their #1 priority is improving youth education by creating fun in science. It's an honor to be here supporting such an inspiring charity like San Diego Lab Rats. Like Lab Rats, I also believe the impact of enjoyable education. As kids and even adults, I think we can all agree that we learn more when we're having fun. I'm here to show you just how fun science can be with the science of wine. Before I show you my personal tips on wine tasting, we thought that because SD Lab Rats is an educational science program, it would be fun to share some science facts about the winemaking process. First and foremost, it's important to know that wine is mostly water, aka H2O, usually 85%. And the rest is made up of alcohol, aka ethanol, and flavors, aka esters. Why wine tastes like wine and why they taste so different has to do with 3 major components. Grapes, the different varietals going into it, i.e. Merlot or Chardonnay, soil, where in the world this wine is grown, and climate, the growing conditions. There is a French word called terroir that doesn't exactly translate to English, but basically it means a sense of place. This particular wine only tastes the way it does because of the exact conditions that happened during this growing year in this specific region, in this specific vineyard, i.e. terroir. This wine gives you a sense of place of where it was grown. Wine grows best between 30 and 50 degree latitude in both the northern and the southern hemisphere. Above that is usually too cold, and below that is usually too warm. With the recent rise in global temperatures, we are finding that regions a few degrees above 50 degrees latitude are able to grow wine for the first time. Now that you know where wine can grow, let's talk about the growing conditions. Wine grows best in conditions that are not too harsh or very drastic. Rain is great, but if it happens to happen during bud burst, which is during the spring when the vine begins to flower and the rain knocks off the very delicate buds, you will have no crop that year. Additionally, vines grow best in regions that have a large diurnal shift. A diurnal shift is the difference between the highest day temperature and the lowest night temperature. Take Paso Robles, for example, a wine-growing region just to the north of us. On average, their diurnal shift during the summer is about 40 degrees, which means if it's 100 degrees during the day, it could be 60 degrees at night, which is great for grapes because it gives them a chance to relax out of the heat and helps maintain a healthy natural acidity. Think of it like putting your food in the fridge overnight to preserve it. How does grape juice become wine, you may ask? The reason is fermentation. Fermentation is a result of yeast eating the natural sugars found in grapes, which produces CO2, alcohol, and esters, which are the unique aromas. The CO2 evaporates out, and the skins, seeds, and grape must is then filtered out, and you're left with wine that moves into the aging process. For any of you neuroscience enthusiasts, we thought you'd like to know that our brains construct associations with aromatic esters. Since aromas usually come reliably attached to a familiar look, taste, and feel, many esters produced in wines often have an established association. This is the reason why sommeliers like myself are able to retain our brains to have different associations and will know how to pick up those very subtle aromas with practice. If you remember that time that your grandmother made a lemon meringue pie for your birthday, if I close my eyes when I'm smelling a particular wine like Chenin Blanc, for example, I can almost taste the memory when I have a sip of that wine. Now that you know the process of winemaking and the contributions to its flavors, it would be a riveting experience to actually taste wine so you know what to look for. In order to do so, here are some helpful tips on wine tasting. I will now taste these 2 wines in front of you and give you my tasting notes on them. I actually brought 2 of my very own wines. The first one is a Rosé of Petit Verdot. This wine is interesting because it is red wine grapes that are made like a white wine. That's why it only has a little bit of color, because it only spends a little bit of time on the skins, which give wine its color. The second wine I brought is my Cabernet Sauvignon. Now this is a traditional style wine. It's aged in barrels. It spends a lot of time on its skins. That's why you see this dark color here. Now all you need to know about tasting is the 3 S's: the sight, the smell, and the taste. The first thing you want to do is look. Really visualize the color by tilting the glass around. It's helpful to do this on a white background, like a napkin or a piece of paper. The first S, see or sight. You're looking for impurities or color variation. Not always, but a good rule of thumb is the darker the wine, the more full it's going to be. On this first wine, I don't see any color variation or any impurities. On this second wine, it is nice, dark, rich color, almost ruby-like, with also no impurities or color variation. As mentioned before, our sense of smell will be vital when wine tasting because our sense is closely linked with memory. Smell is often emotive. We, as humans, make associations with scents. Take a nice sniff, close your eyes, and take a mental picture of the flavors. Try to pick out 1 or 2 flavors. Fruits are usually the easiest to smell. With white wine, try to decide if you're smelling something citrus or tropical or stone fruit. With red wine, see if you can smell red fruits, black fruits, or blue fruits. The second S is smell. On this rosé, I smell pineapple, watermelon, and bananas. On the Cabernet, I smell black cherries and black raspberries. Now the anticipation can end and the tasting can begin. Really let the wine almost swirl around in your mouth to better understand the flavors. This is the fun part. Try to confirm or deny what you've just smelled. Did you smell raspberry on the nose, but it tastes more like cranberry? The third S is sip. On the rosé, I definitely get that watermelon, that strawberry, and more of a lemon note on the palate. On the Cabernet, those cherries and raspberries are still very much there, but it's almost like a cooked sensation, like jam. And finally, it's time to evaluate the balance or intensity. When someone says wine is dry, it isn't negative. It actually means that the wine is not sweet. And when a wine is more acidic, it means it can make your mouth water, commonly found in white wine. And finally, the most important step, do you like it? We hope that knowing the science behind wine can help make your wine tasting experience memorable, and you can take some of your new acquired knowledge to the next level at the Encinitas Wine Festival, September 18th. Our hope is to see you there to show your support 1 wine at a time. If you liked what you heard and want to taste my wines for yourself, you can check out our booth at the Encinitas Wine Festival, online at strawberrywincompany.com or locally in San Diego County. They are sold in keg and bottle retail shops. Cheers!